wonderful, your journey defined, and I am so excited taking you through our next episode. So far, we've done a lot of discussions. We started talking about your mandate, your design, and then I move on also talking about God's design and man's design. But I promise you, sooner or later, we're going to get into the practical application. I've done, and I've said also a couple of times, bring in the facilitators, bring in group leaders. So today, it's my pleasure to introduce you to a couple who've been with us, who've been a facilitator more than 18 years. And I want to say, Gavin and Amelia, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm looking forward to this program and specifically to hear about what you want to say and your story, and also giving us advice about how to be a facilitator. And again, I want to repeat this. I know you've been a facilitator for 18 years, and I'm not sure. Please start with me, your journey, your story, and again, why are you so excited to be a facilitator? But I want to hear from your side.
Thank you, Mario. What a wonderful opportunity that we have today, just to come and share our practical testimonies of our journey that we've become with Married for Life. It's been, for us, it's been life-changing.
Yes.
So much so that these 18 years, or over the 18 years, we've been doing it every year.
Wow.
Just to know more and to get closer to each other and closer to
Sure.
God's plan for us and for marriages out there. And just to see the difference that it's
Yes.
making in other people's lives and family lives. That is for us a brilliant journey to be on.
So you're saying it was now for the last 18 years. Was it always like that, or was it tough times also in the last 18 years or 19 years maybe?
Definitely tough times, Mario. We never thought we would come this far. Actually, when we started, we never knew this journey was going to be so long. So there were definitely tough times. We didn't know that we're going to be able to climb this mountain. But we actually, in the beginning, what makes it so excited, we never saw this as a mountain.
Wow.
We went into this thing because we did it first. And then we thought, this is too good to just keep it to ourselves. So we just started out doing one group each year. And when we realized, actually, when we actually had our first stop, it was at 10 years, when we looked back. And then we realized, but we've been busy for 10 years, and now we've been busy for 18 years.
Wow. And for our listeners, I want to repeat this message. Listen to them. They've been and what they've done. This is why I've asked them, get involved. Because you can also be a facilitator. But yes, I want to back to you, Gavin, again, and I want to ask you, so you started this journey, but why did you start with Married for Life? Can somebody just explain to me, give me some reasons, why did you start with the program?
Mario, that's a very, very good question. We didn't start it out of curiosity or out of just wanting to acquire knowledge. We started out of a pit.
Okay.
We started out of a personal situation or a personal struggle. You see, what happens normally if a person gets married, I get married to my wife, she's a total different being, coming from a total different family. And now we married those two different characters together. And the moment the honeymoon is over, then spark starts flying. Yes. Because in the beginning it's nice. She cooks nice, and I agree with everything. And the time that we go to bed, and it's just honeymoon. But as soon as the honeymoon phase was over, we were married 3 years, and then we hit rock bottom, just like that.
Can you tell me more about that? You said rock bottom. It means that was over?
Yes. That is how I felt, Mario. We never had like a situation where we had a third party or a fourth party. But it's just the two worlds that collided. We didn't have any understanding of each other. And we didn't have time because we already had such a lot of baggage coming into the marriage. And we didn't even have premarital counseling. So we come into this situation, never thought what it was going to be like. It's like going from Earth into space. You don't even have any extra oxygen with you. You don't know about meteors and all the galaxies. You just go into a different atmosphere, and that is what actually hit us. And then I decided, because I had a lot of baggage, I decided I didn't sign up for this. So I'm just going to pack my stuff. And you know what? I didn't even pack it in expensive bags. I packed it in black bags, Mario. So that is where that was our rock bottom.
So Gavin, you then decided You want to do something about it, am I right? Or
No, not that. Not that. That's the problem. When the day when we decided to separate, that was the first call. When she started putting her stuff in black bags, because I'm coming from a different background,
Yes.
and I felt that I don't need this. I didn't sign up for this and things like that. And then when she started packing the bags up, I just put the bags all together in the.
So
in
you
the
help
alley.
her?
Yeah. Just not to become rid of her, but just to get to an end of this
Yeah.
whole
Yes.
conflict situations
Yeah.
and things like that. But what we didn't realize, we didn't keep into account, is that the marriage wasn't ordained by us.
Yes.
It wasn't called into life by people. So what happened was, one day she was sitting at work, ne? And she heard a talk on the radio about Married for Life and the course that and the impact of the course in people's life. But let us share that portion.
Yes, Mario. I was listening to the radio, as usual, and then I heard this course being advertised. I wrote down, because we were still on speaking terms. It's not, we didn't throw dishes and cups and anything at each other. We just had it with each other.
Yeah.
So we were still on speaking terms, and I wrote down the number that was in Pretoria. And then I wrote down the number, and I phoned him at his work and said, listen here, if there is any hope for us, I think this is our last hope. So he phoned the number. That was the Wednesday. On the Thursday, he phoned Pretoria. They gave him the number of your beautiful wife, Marine, here in Cape Town. And Marine gave him the number of a pastor that was going to start Married for Life on that specific Saturday.
Wow.
Now, see how profound was God's timing with the two of us. In a week's time, actually a few days, he gave us a solution, because he knew when I walk out of that door, it was going to be over. So Gavin phoned on the Friday. He phoned that specific pastor. There was only one spot left for another couple for that Saturday, and we took that spot.
Wow. You see, to our listeners, what I like about the story so far is you're going to do something about it. It's like buying a new car, and if you don't take it for a service, you know what's going to happen. And when I listen to your story, as you reach a time, so listen, this is it. We want to do something.
Yes.
And I'm going to also explain to our listeners what happened, and you must also help. But it seems to me you decided it's going to be a cause. You want to do it, and Gavin, you said yes.
Yeah.
So that was the
Yes.
starting point. Wow.
Yeah, the big thing about it is, Mario, is when we hit this rock bottom situation, we called upon our leaders in the church first.
Yes.
Because we come from a congregation where we fellowship with family, and then that is what our first point of departure is to get hold of the pastor and get hold of people, because we need help. But to our amazement is that there wasn't help coming forth from them. Because sometimes we sit in situations where we ourselves don't know what's out there. But luckily for us, that day she heard the radio program that came out, and that is where we thought, okay, here is a solution for our problem. Because the one moment is that the fact that although I was stubborn, I was still teachable.
Oh, lovely.
And that was the
Appreciate
thing that actually caused the breakthrough. I still had to listen to my wife, because we were still one. Although we were planning on separating, I still had to listen, because she had a big voice at that stage. You know? and because of that, I still listened to her, and then we decided to sign on. But
Brilliant.
the one thing that we needed to be teachable, because at that moment we didn't know it all.
Wow.
And that is the thing that we came to. We came to that knowledge on that stage that we don't know it all. We from here we need help.
Oh, that's so wonderful. And to listeners, I want to repeat this. You sitting on the other side, you're listening to us, and I want to carry on with this story. It's so powerful. Because I'm going to ask them what happened afterwards, and talk to me about the program until we reach the stage that I'm going to ask them, but why are you still involved over the 18 years? But what I like about this part of the story is their faithfulness, being available, as well as they've mentioned it, this word of teachable. And I know you're sitting in the other side, you're asking questions, can we get involved? The question is yes. And I want to again ask them later on, talk to me how we can help people in the rest of the world so that they can get the necessary training. So I want to repeat, if you want to do something about it, please connect with us so that we can take it to the next level. So again, I want to say to my wonderful couple, Gavin and Amelia, this is just a great story. And I know you're giving lots of inspiration to other people. But I want to carry on with this story because I know there's lots of information that I want you to share with our listeners. So yes, we're going to be back. We're going to just take a short while for a short break, but I will be back and then I'm going to ask you the questions. Listen, what have you done so far? What message do you have for us? So thank you very much so far.
Thank you very much.
Do we understand these different seasons? We try our best to help people to be successful. As people move on with their lives, there is a desperate need to move on to the season of significance. In our research on managerial degeneration and self-neglect, we have found that managers easily understand the importance of strategic thinking and when to have team-building sessions with their staff, but often fail to apply those same processes in their own lives. Use your willingness and obedience now. Start your journey to be a facilitator today. When trained as a facilitator, you will have the opportunity to serve people in a very unique way. We are keen to take you through this wonderful training. Let the rest of your life be the best part of your life.
And again, welcome back. I love the story and the things that we've discussed, but now we're going to take it further. So back to Amelia as well as Gavin. You've been on this course, and it seems to me it was just a short course. Tell me more about the course, or what have you done, and even if you can just recap some of the things that you already picked up during that first sessions.
The course, Mario, is 12 weeks. Like I said, we did it for 13 weeks. Over the years, it's been shortened, and for a good reason. But the material, the stuff that you do during the course, it's life-changing. It can never be the same. Your life cannot be the same after you did that. It's a biblical-based course. We ask the couples to bring their Bibles with every week because we go through scriptures every week, and each and everybody gets a chance to read. And what is so profound about that is that many times people don't get to their Bible often. So in those two hours, what we're busy on a Sunday afternoon, we prefer doing it on a Sunday afternoon. Everybody's relaxed. There's no stress of doing grocery shopping or whatever. So Sunday afternoons, people are relaxed, and then they can just come sit and relax, trying to just focus on what is ahead and discovering themselves in those 2 hours in this lessons what we are doing.
Okay, so you've been through a lot of sessions, and I know also the course content. I know the first one was all about covenant agreement. Am I right?
That's correct. Yes.
Is that still relevant for us today?
It is. No, that is definitely relevant because it gives us a platform to work from.
Yeah.
You can't start building something from the sky onwards. You need to define first you need to get to the bottom of things. And for me, getting into a relationship is when husband and wife meets each other. It needs to start building from something. So a covenant agreement is the best thing to start it from, or to show to couples when we start defining the first cornerstone or the first building block of the marriage is to define that I need to realize that my marriage is based on a covenant and not based on a contract. And that is what we lay out to the people when they start the course. The couples.
And then afterwards, I'm hearing that they're talking about a one flesh. Am I right? Two becomes one.
Yes.
Surely, is that possible?
Mario, it is absolutely possible. After leaving and cleaving, it comes down to it that I need to put aside what I want, because sometimes it's all about me, myself, and I don't realize I come and I married somebody else. And now you need to come together as one. It is possible if you allow yourself, because many times I always say the magic word here is allow. You need to allow the Holy Spirit to form you. It's like a piece of clay. You can't tell the potter that This is what I want to be. If the potter wants to make a vase out of you, you just have to go with the flow. You cannot give any resistance. Otherwise, that object is going to fail. And that is what it's all about, becoming one.
One flesh, great. And I know then after that they're doing another session on it's like the role of the husband, as well as, well, that's not an easy one. You're a business person. How do you, isn't that difficult?
It is definitely difficult, because if you're a leader in the workplace, you want to be that leader at home also.
Yes.
If you were a visionary, then in the house you're also a visionary. But the thing is, when we work together at home, it is my better half that I'm working with. It's not a bunch of colleagues or we're working on a project or something like this. Here we're busy with real life. We're raising kids and things like that. So I've got a responsibility. I've got certain roles that the Bible defines that this is my responsibility. Providing is the man's responsibility.
Yes.
The administration of the house is the wife's responsibility. And sometimes these roles get misused, because sometimes the wife takes over the husband roles, and the husband will then take over on the wife's roles, and that is where most of the confusion comes in marriages. Because I don't know, nobody told me that this was my responsibility when I got married.
Yes.
Wow.
But the Bible clearly states that there's specific roles set aside for the husband, and then there's a specific role set aside for the wife.
Wow.
Yes.
And again, to our listeners, this is great news, and this is why we want to get involved. They are brilliant facilitators over the last 16, 17, 18 years, and I've asked them, listen, let's have a practical application, so that I want to hear from their side also things that they've learned. But coming back to you, Amelia, sowing and reaping, surely, you know, in a marriage, people have done lots of things that's wrong. Where does that fit in?
Mario, sowing and reaping, many times people don't know that the words they speak, they are busy sowing. We are sowing into each other's lives as husband and wife. We are sowing into our kids' lives. We are sowing into our neighbors, our families' lives. Those are the words that you speak, the actions that you do. And then many times people come to a point that they suffer the consequences, because that seeds what you have sown. It brings you a harvest. If you plant an apple pit, it doesn't just give you one apple.
Yes.
It gives you an apple tree. And if you look in all those apples, how many apple pits there are, and those are being re-sown into the ground, it's also going to bring for you another harvest. And it all depends on what you sow. Do you sow negative or do you sow positive? And many times people stand amazed at the negative seeds that came up in their lives, but they don't realize that they are actually the sowers of those seeds. But we don't necessarily just have to sow bad seeds. We can sow good seeds as well.
Yes. Oh, I love it. And then there must be, you know, just listening to you, Amelia, there must be a place for forgiveness also.
Yes,
No, that is
definitely
truly
so.
important. Yeah, because like she's saying that the problem with sowing is that you can sow a single seed, like she explained it now, but you will always harvest more than what you've sown.
Yes.
And then for correcting yourself is because now you need to know that if I've done something wrong, if I sowed the wrong seed, then I need to come to the point where I can forgive.
Yes.
Because if I realize something, then I need to take corrective steps.
Yes.
Just to make sure that I stay on course.
Yes.
And now for the only way to stay on course is really to come to the point where you can say, okay, but I've done something wrong. That's why we've deviated from our course.
Yeah.
And then that is where you then step inside and be a man about it and say, listen, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Correct.
Forgive
Yes.
me. And then the big thing about it is sometimes you forgive your spouse, you forgive the kids, you forgive what you've done, but you don't forgive yourself.
Oh, that's
and that
great.
is also a big problem that we sit with facing forgiveness. Meeting with couples, you can sit with couples and you speak about this project or this specific topic. Then we sit and most of the time we see that it's easy for the husband to forgive the wife or for the wife to forgive the husband. But when it comes to self-forgiveness, that is a typical route that we need to get into and take that one out before we can start journeying forward again.
Oh, I love these examples, and thank you very much just for sharing it with us. And then afterwards, do you put a vision to them together? Is there a place for a new marriage? What's happening after, say, forgiveness? Because, you know, surely we don't want to go back and back and back. We've done it.
Yeah.
What are the next steps?
For the vision forward, Mario, is that it is very important. It is possible. Our words that we normally use in the beginning of the course is that there is always hope. People sometimes are hopeless. Now we come and then we put the vision in place. You see God's vision for your husband and God's vision for your wife. So there is something that you can look forward to, but that is a self-action.
Yeah.
You must allow yourself to look into the future and don't look back, because then you can only work on that.
That's good.
I just love it, and I just want to take a moment here. So far, we've looked at your experience about the first 6 weeks, but surely you've been involved the last 18 years. Any testimonies that you want to share with us that you've personally experienced, people going through these steps? Anything that you can share with us, what's coming through, that you can think about it?
Yeah, we had a couple now recently that they were married. I think it was for 5 years or 6 years. Yeah?
Yes,
They were married and then they were separated. They actually went through the divorce. They got divorced, and then the wife came to my wife for some counseling and just to take stock of her life. And then eventually they decided that they're gonna get married again. And after that, they came on the course. And part of that was when we looked at the journey that they had to go through, was forgiveness was the big thing about it. And when we sit with couples, man, the practical things that we see that actually causes the problem or causes couples to deviate from their plan that God has got for them for their marriage is typical specific stuff. It's either there's no oneness. The husband feels that it's my house, my car, my room, and my things. Now if you give up those rights, then you can work with something. And even the wife, if the wife starts spending and think, but this is my salary and my things, and this, if she gives that up and starts saying, no, this is what we've got together, and this is how we're going to work forward, going forward, then those things becomes breakthrough elements in the marriage. Even if you say that I've done wrong, forgive me, and then even after that forgiveness, then you need to tell yourself, okay, I'm not going to do this anymore further. And you put certain things, certain boundaries in the ground to say that, okay, if me as a husband goes this or to the right, then the wife needs to tell him, listen, you're going off track. So you need to have that communication just to get onto path again.
Wow. And to our listeners on your side, please, we want to carry on with this discussion. So far, we've just touched on a couple of very, very important points. This is practical application number 1. So in our next session, we're going to carry on. But just at this stage, please, if you're sitting on the other side, you want to get involved, let's connect. So again, I want to say thank you very much. Just sharing your insights with us. So I want to close the session by saying there's hope for us. Let's take it further so that we can discuss it also in our next session. I want to ask you again my famous 3-4 questions in wrapping up this practical application part 1. And it's all about, the first one is, what did you hear so far, listening to Gavin and listening to Amelia? The second question that I want to ask you, what do you think about this? Is this only smart? Is it lovely information? Because I want to repeat, information without application is only entertainment. Now the third one that I want to ask you, what are you going to do with this information? It's great to have this content, and we're looking forward to train more and more people in this specific area. Then I also want to ask you, what do you want to pray about this? But I want to give Gavin and Amelia a final word of encouragement, something that's on your heart, something that you want to share with our listeners. So if you can just address our listeners, and also Amelia, what do you want to carry on and saying finally and wrapping up the session today?
Listeners, I would just, not listeners, the viewers, I would like to say that come on board. This is something that is life-changing. We need more people to just come, because many of you might think that I am not able to do this. You are capable of doing this just like we did and started out.
Yeah, what beautiful words there, viewers. From my side also, there's practical applications that the Bible gives us. The Bible is a foundation that we can use to build on. Practical, It gives you practical explanations for things. And one of my favorite scriptures that's there is the scripture in Genesis 2 verse 24 that defines it like this. It says that a man, which is an individual, will leave his father, the one that partakes or imparts knowledge and imparts wisdom into a son. He would leave his father and his mother, and he would cleave to his wife. And then that two would become one. And that is where God wants a marriage to be. I know that sometimes we take advice from different people. We take advice from different scenarios and different things. And then we're trying to build a life on that. Even if your marriage is in a troubled situation, you don't take advice from a mentor or somebody that you can say that you can learn from this couple in this marriage. You would rather go sit with somebody that has been through troubled times and divorce and things like that. And it's easy for you to take advice from that person. But in that scenario, it is not the right thing.
Brilliant stuff. And I want to say to please let the rest of your marriage be the best part of your marriage. Keep on listening. We want to repeat this program, and I'm looking forward, and I want to say, listen, come and listen to us. We want to say to you also, be blessed and go and make a difference. God bless you.
Thank you.